Pay attention to the woman in the navy blue Toyota Corolla pulling into the parking lot. Her name is Aaliyah Grant. She is on her way to meet a marketplace seller for a laptop she believes will help her finish nursing school. Now, pay attention to the man standing beside the silver SUV. His name is Marcus Hale. He is the one who posted the fake listing online. Within 45 minutes, her phone would be powered off forever. This was not a deal, it was an abduction, where she became her own last witness. Welcome to Last Witness. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more haunting crime stories that expose how modern technology connects us to both opportunity and danger. At 10:40 p.m. on August 3rd, an hour after Aaliyah Grant was due to text back, her best friend Jasmine made the first of many calls to her phone. Each call went directly to voicemail. The worry that had been simmering for hours turned into a formal drive to the Kenwood Shopping Plaza parking lot just before 11 p.m. The scene Jasmine found was chilling. Aaliyah's car sat with the engine still warm, driver's door cracked open, headlights fading. To Jasmine, the facts did not fit someone who had simply left. But when she called 911, the initial response fit a familiar pattern for someone Aaliyah's age, and the case was initially handled as a potential voluntary departure. The official classification stood in stark contrast to the person Aaliyah Grant was. Raised in Park Heights, she was the steady hand in a fractured family. While her mother passed when she was 12 and her father remained distant, Aaliyah lived with and cared for her aunt. She was known as responsible and focused, a 27-year-old nursing student who worked part-time at a call center troubleshooting tech issues. Her focus was singular: save enough money for a MacBook so she could finish her coursework without relying on campus labs. Her social media wasn't for entertainment. It was organized, professional, a testament to her discipline. Her family and friends knew she would not just disappear. While police processed the initial report, Jasmine began her own search, posting Aaliyah's picture across social media and messaging anyone who might have seen her. Her aunt insisted to the responding officers that Aaliyah was not someone who wandered off. She was a planner, a saver, who was on the cusp of achieving the life she worked so hard to build. She had a meeting with a seller named Thomas. She had screenshots of the conversation. She had an address. But investigators were about to discover that the first clue in the case was the first piece of a calculated lie. The man who called himself Thomas was a phantom built from digital illusions. The marketplace listing Aaliyah Grant, found in late July on Facebook Marketplace, was his masterpiece of deception. Titled MacBook Pro 2019, Great Condition, the post used professional photos, promised a competitive price of $250, and listed a legitimate-sounding reason for the quick sale: moving out of state and need cash tonight. It was designed to attract ambitious young people just like Aaliyah. When she messaged him asking if it was still available, Thomas's response was swift and friendly. Their correspondence, later recovered from Aaliyah's phone backup, showed a series of normal interactions. Thomas conducted the negotiation over Facebook Messenger, using casual language that seemed authentic. He spoke convincingly about the laptop's specs and condition. He built a foundation of trust message by digital message. When it was time to meet in person, he had a ready-made excuse for the location. He was already in the area visiting family, so they should meet at the Kenwood Shopping Plaza. He sent her the address and asked her to park in the back lot near his silver SUV, explaining that the main lot was too crowded and he needed to leave quickly. It was only after her disappearance that investigators began pulling at the threads of this story. They found that Thomas had no verifiable identity. The Facebook profile had been created just 4 months prior. The professional photos were stock images pulled from a tech review website. The profile had fake reviews, fabricated interactions, and no real connections. The entire operation was a carefully constructed trap. Police would soon discover that Aaliyah was not the first woman Marcus had tried to lure with this scheme, but she was the first one who did not sense the danger in time. On the evening of August 3rd, Aaliyah Grant followed the instructions Marcus Hale had given her. She drove from her apartment in Baltimore to the Kenwood Shopping Plaza in the suburbs, arriving at approximately 9:52 p.m. Her final destination was the back parking lot Hale had designated as their meeting point. Security cameras captured her navy blue Corolla pulling into frame. A few moments later, the footage showed a man approaching her vehicle and gesturing toward the silver SUV nearby. It was the last time any camera would record her clearly. Her friend Jasmine expected a text by 10 p.m. By 10:30, after unanswered messages went unread, a deep sense of dread had set in. She drove to the plaza and found Aaliyah's car still running, door ajar, belongings untouched. She immediately contacted the Baltimore County Police Department and insisted something was terribly wrong. The department, however, initially handled the case based on the victim's age and the lack of any immediate signs of a violent struggle. Aaliyah Grant, 27, was officially considered a potential voluntary missing person. This procedural decision, while standard, created a critical delay. The investigation did not begin with the urgency of an abduction. Meanwhile, Aaliyah's digital footprint had come to an abrupt end. Cell phone records would later show that her phone was powered off or disabled at 10:15 p.m., just 23 minutes after she was seen on camera at the plaza. In that short window of time, in or near that parking lot, she had vanished completely. While her family pleaded with authorities to investigate the marketplace meeting as a potential lead, the official case file sat in a queue, waiting for evidence to prove that Aaliyah had not just walked away on her own. The voluntary departure theory collapsed under the weight of digital evidence unearthed not by police initially, but by Jasmine's persistence. Frantically searching for clues, she accessed Aaliyah's iCloud backup and found screenshots of the entire conversation with Thomas. She immediately turned over the information to detectives. This provided the investigation with its first tangible leads: the seller's name, the Facebook profile, and the message timestamps. Investigators quickly confirmed what Jasmine and Aaliyah's aunt already suspected. A check of the Facebook profile showed Thomas had no verifiable history. The photos associated with the account had been stolen from a tech blogger in California. When police attempted to trace the phone number Thomas had used in the messages, it came back as a prepaid burner phone activated shortly before he first contacted Aaliyah and disconnected shortly after her disappearance. It was a digital dead end designed to be untraceable. The real breakthrough came from the IP address. While the account itself was anonymous, the IP address, a unique identifier for a computer's location, was not. Cybercrime analysts traced the origin of Thomas's messages to a public library in Racine, Wisconsin, and later to a home Wi-Fi network that had been used once, briefly, during the message exchange. This shifted the geographic scope of the investigation. Detectives obtained security footage from the library, and on it they saw a man matching the description from the gas station video, using public computers on multiple dates. They now had a clearer image of their suspect, but still no name. The discovery also revealed a chilling pattern. Investigators found similar fake marketplace listings in Milwaukee and Madison, all linked to the same methods. They were no longer searching for one missing woman, they were hunting a serial predator. While the digital trail pointed investigators toward Wisconsin, the most critical clue came from the physical world: the parking lot in suburban Baltimore. Detectives meticulously reviewed hours of security footage from every available angle, searching for the vehicle the suspect had used. They found it, a well-maintained silver Dodge Charger. Although the man had intentionally blurred his license plate with a substance, another camera angle captured a partial view as he entered the lot from a different direction. A query through Maryland's motor vehicle database, cross-referenced with similar vehicles in Wisconsin, provided the name they had been searching for. The car was registered to Marcus Hale of Racine, Wisconsin. The name initially meant little to investigators in Baltimore. A background check revealed a man with a troubling history. He was 34 years old, unemployed, living on disability payments, and had 2 prior arrests for domestic violence and fraud. On paper, he was a drifter with a pattern of deception and violence. He was exactly the person anyone should suspect. When the FBI and Milwaukee field office contacted his landlord, the facade of his isolated life began to crumble. The landlord confirmed that Hale was currently at his residence, but kept unusual hours and rarely interacted with neighbors. His trips in and out were frequent, his behavior erratic. With this statement, the investigation now had a clear target. The digital ghost from the Racine library and the man on the parking lot footage had a name, a history, and a home address. The hunt was no longer for a shadow. It was for Marcus Hale. In mid-August, the investigation culminated in a duplex in Racine, Wisconsin. Federal agents and local police executed a search warrant at Marcus Hale's residence while he was away from the property. The man they were hunting seemed a world away from the friendly seller Aaliyah thought she was meeting. He was a loner whose neighbors knew him only as someone to avoid. Investigators expected to find evidence of a trafficking operation. Instead, during the search of his home, they found something that twisted the entire narrative of the case. Inside Hale's bedroom, detectives discovered a corkboard covered with photographs of young women, all seemingly pulled from social media and marketplace profiles. Aaliyah's face was circled in red. Next to the board was a notebook detailing his surveillance methods, the fake profiles he had created, and notes about which women had responded to his listings. In the basement, they found zip ties, duct tape, a tarp with bloodstains, and cleaning supplies. Luminol testing confirmed the blood was human. DNA analysis would later match it to Aaliyah Grant. Most chilling of all, they found Aaliyah's driver's license wedged between couch cushions in the living room. She had been in that house. And based on the evidence, investigators knew she had not left alive. Hale's notebook contained cryptic references to locations where he had disposed of items and handled problems. One entry, dated August 4th, included GPS coordinates pointing to an abandoned industrial site in Waukesha County. Acting on this lead, a search team was dispatched to the location. On August 18th, cadaver dogs alerted to a disturbed section of earth near the tree line of the property. Excavation began immediately. At a depth of approximately 4 feet, investigators uncovered human remains wrapped in the same type of tarp found in Hale's basement. Dental records confirmed the body was Aaliyah Grant. The medical examiner determined she had died from asphyxiation within hours of her abduction. She had been buried in a shallow grave and left there for 2 weeks. Marcus Hale was arrested at a gas station outside of Madison, Wisconsin on August 19th. His apprehension was swift and without incident. During interrogation, he initially denied everything, claiming he had never met Aaliyah and knew nothing about the marketplace listing. But when confronted with the surveillance footage, the DNA evidence, the notebook, and the GPS coordinates found in his own handwriting, his defense crumbled. Under the weight of undeniable evidence, Hale eventually provided a partial confession. He admitted to creating the fake profile and luring Aaliyah to the parking lot. He admitted to abducting her and bringing her to his home. He admitted to killing her when she tried to escape, but he refused to show remorse, instead blaming his actions on financial desperation and claiming Aaliyah had been in the wrong place at the wrong time. The case that began with a missing person report concluded with the complete unmasking of a predator who had been operating undetected for months. Marcus Hale was charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and abuse of a corpse. His trial was swift. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence: the marketplace messages with their intact metadata, the surveillance footage, the DNA analysis, the GPS data, and Hale's own notebook detailing his methods. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. Marcus Hale was convicted on all counts and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge, in her sentencing remarks, condemned Hale's actions as a calculated abuse of technology and trust. "You used the tools that connect us to prey on the vulnerable," she said. "You turned a simple transaction into a death sentence. You will spend the rest of your life behind bars. And that is more mercy than you showed Aaliyah Grant." Aaliyah's aunt established the Aaliyah Grant Safety Fund, dedicated to educating young adults about the dangers of meeting strangers through online marketplaces. The fund partners with local police departments to host safety seminars, teaching people to verify sellers, meet in public places with witnesses, and trust their instincts when something feels wrong. Aaliyah's story has been featured in law enforcement training programs and victim advocacy campaigns across the country. Her friends still speak about her in the present tense, as if she might walk through the door at any moment. They remember her laugh, her discipline, her dreams of becoming a nurse. And they remember that even in death, she left behind a digital trail that spoke louder than any witness ever could. Her screenshots, her messages, her phone's automatic backups, all became the evidence that convicted her killer. This is the story of Aaliyah Grant, told by the only thing she left behind that could speak for her, her last witness,